That type of frictionless experience is what gets people back into the theater, back to connecting with film, and back to loving their local theater. So that's where Agile wants to be a part of that play and helping our theaters reconnect or connect in a greater way with their ticket buyers and patrons.
This is the Box Office Podcast. I'm Daniel Loria, the editorial director of Box Office Pro, the pulse of theatrical exhibition. And in this week's episode, we're joined by our friends from Agile Ticketing, speaking on the eve of the ICTA seminar series happening in Los Angeles next week on Monday. They're going to be talking everything in the world of digital ticketing with my colleague and co-host, Rebecca Pahle, who also joins us here for the news segment. Rebecca, welcome back from vacation. It's always a fun period to catch up on movies, and that's exactly what you did with your family over the holidays. You finally got to catch up with Marty Supreme, which has been doing fantastically well here in the domestic market.
Yeah, I saw that on Christmas Day with my family, a big hit with my parents. My brother said that he didn't like it because it was stressful, but he could be really harsh on movies or just stuff in general. So the fact that he didn't have anything worse to say was like extremely good. Yeah, caught that one at the Regal out in Asheville, North Carolina, and then caught it again this past weekend at the tippity top floor of the AMC in Times Square. My friend Eric and a friend Eric had shown absolutely no interest in the movie, because from the marketing, it looked, cheesy and inspirational. And then, hearing the word of mouth, like, no, Marty's an asshole.
Yeah, no.
Marty's an asshole, and that's why it works.
Not a nice guy.
Yeah, so we caught that. I've caught it twice, and yeah, he was a really big fan of it. I think it's in my top 5 of the year, though I'm still calibrating as I catch up on some other stuff.
At the MPC holiday party, our friends over at A24 gifted me the orange Marty Supreme ping pong balls. And I trained my toddler to recognize the ping pong balls as Josh's movie, because Benny already had his movie. So she knows Benny and Josh by sight. And she knows it's Josh's movie. She knows it's out in Christmas. And she knows that Timmy went to LaGuardia. So some important marketing knowledge there. That marketing campaign worked for 2-year-olds. A big shout out to our friends at A24.
Hey, New Yorker 2-year-olds. That seems like you're raising the second generation of Safdie movie fans.
That's what we need in this world. It'll be a better place if we can all get behind the Safdies, even in their solo days. I think it was an interesting year from both of them. Let's go into the news here because we had some really strong grosses over the last 2 weeks of the year, particularly the rally that happened after Christmas, with the 2025 box office finishing at $8.87 billion. Now, that's an important rally. We had to close out the year, but it wasn't enough to get us to that $9 billion mark that we were really saying was going to be the big benchmark that we were all hoping to hit. We don't get there. $8.87 billion is a letdown if we look at what we were expecting at the beginning of the year. Overall, that's a 1.5% increase over last year's domestic revenues. Looking at the studio side of things, Disney finishing the year becoming the only major studio to cross the $6 billion mark at the global box office since the pandemic. A great feat, and one really established with the strength of 3 movies. 2 of them, Lilo and Stitch and Zootopia 2, that crossed the $1 billion mark in 2025, the third of which, Avatar, Fire and Ash, crossing the $1 billion mark in the early days of 2026. But Rebecca, this is a fantastic benchmark for a studio that didn't count with, let's say, 100% efficacy in the releases. You had movies like Elio and Snow White being big, let's call them what they are, disasters at the box office. And then you had other performers, like middling performers, like, let's say, Thunderbolts and Captain America Brave New World that had a lower.
I think that us reaching, as it happened out, not reaching the $9 billion mark in 2025. I mean, that's a function of one or two movies not working as we hoped that they would. But yeah, that trio of films really saved Disney's bacon over this last year, got them over that $6 million mark. Avatar, Fire and Ash reaching the $1 billion mark on January 4th. I believe, so Avatar, The Way of Water reached $1 billion in 14 days, and Fire and Ash reached it in 17 days. So it's not to that pace we saw in 2022, early 2023 with Way of Water, but Fire and Ash still doing well, particularly overseas. Yeah, we actually got a release just before recording this episode that Zootopia 2, which has had an absolutely amazing run in China so far, has officially passed Avengers Endgame to be the number one MPA Hollywood title to come out in China, passing Avengers Endgame, which it feels insane to say that sentence, that any Hollywood title passed Avengers Endgame, particularly in China where the film did so well. But yeah, Zootopia 2, I mean, that's one of the big stories of the year. That's the one we definitely needed as an industry.
Yeah, and going back to that performance of Avatar, Fire and Ash, I think you mentioned it briefly a second ago. It's really the overseas markets that's pushing this to that $1 billion heights. Domestically, the movie is showing a marked drop-off in terms of performance. We had Way of Water ending its first 17 days in the market with $425 million in domestic box office. Meanwhile, after 17 days, Avatar, Fire and Ash has only in quotation marks, but only made $306 million. So that's $120 million, give and take, in terms of difference at the same point of release. 3 weekends into the run domestically for these Avatar sequels. I think we're probably going to see something like we've seen with the Jurassic World movies or the Fast and the Furious movies, where overseas markets sustain it.
The Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, where it got to a point, films 4 and 5, where they were essentially international franchises, international films, which is fine, which is great. I mean, I caught Avatar. Gosh, I think it was the IMAX 3D. I had a great time with it. I mean, it's appointment viewing. It's appointment viewing, and it's premium format viewing, and it's something that's made to be seen in theaters. And I think even domestically, if the numbers aren't what they were, it's definitely a franchise that still has that international ability to travel extremely well.
An ability to sustain grosses. I mentioned that Avatar Way of Water had made $425 million after 17 days in release. The movie went on to make an extra $260 million domestically. So that just means that after its first 3 weeks, it still had a blockbuster run in it. I don't know if Fire and Ash is going to have another $260 million in the bank, but I do expect it still to hit that $400 million domestic benchmark with strong playability going into the first half of January here. Because as we look at the schedule ahead of us, Rebecca, yes, it was a strong first weekend of the year where I don't think a single title dropped more than 37% over the first weekend of 2026. An important benchmark. You had some titles like The Housemaid and Zootopia 2 falling in the single digits. I mean, really terrific holds. But this is where the schedule now starts to slow down a little bit because we don't have too many interesting titles, at least up until next weekend's 28 Years Later Bone Temple from Sony.
Oh, January. I am going to go see Primate this weekend. It's coming out.
That's the Paramount Killer Monkey movie, correct?
Killer Monkey movie. It's definitely, it's niche. It's not going to have the widespread appeal of something like a Rachel McAdams in Send Help or Ryan Gosling in Project Hail Mary. But, it feels like Primate is just like a made to be released in January horror movie. And I say that in a very positive sense. I've heard good things. I've heard it's very gory.
Yeah, well, do you need a Ryan Gosling in space when you can go watch a Killer Monkey in early January? That's music to a lot of our ears. Do you have a favorite monkey movie?
I do. It's actually it's a movie called Shakma from 1990. I saw it kind of not in a cinema, but kind of like a quote unquote movie club where they had a screen that comes down from I think it was played like on an old VHS cough pipe, but it was a communal experience and it was good. It's about, you have a hospital and there's a baboon. It goes insane. starts killing people, that's fairly standard. But the reason that the humans are in this hospital overnight is that they, led by Roddy McDowall playing the doctor. Do you know what LARPing is, Daniel?
That is when you dress up in a costume and pretend to be somebody else?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
They decided to LARP in the hospital overnight and some sort of like fantasy RPG, like, oh, we have to get the princess in the tower. Again, in a hospital overnight while there is a killer baboon. Actually, the same baboon who was in The Fly. So that's the cinema's premier baboon actor. Baboon.
Great performance in The
Fly. Shakma, good stuff. You went a little bit more serious for your favorite monkey movie.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been so much into these stories of just like brazen grifting that we've had over the last couple of years.
It's that year, yeah. Marty Supreme.
Sort of vibe that I've been feeling. But Project NIM, a 2011 documentary about a university professor that starts a pseudoscientific experiment of raising a chimpanzee from birth as like a human. As you would raise
pseudoscientific, so it's not like he's doing peer-reviewed.
Oh, he's doing peer reviews to some of the graduate interns that help him. And it ends up being a horrible scam where the guy is just clearly just doing this to manipulate students. And, the secondary is the fact
that sounds like a solid documentary subject.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying. I mean, what ends up happening is you can imagine. And spoiler alert to the 2011 documentary that you haven't seen, a chimpanzee that you raise as an infant, as a human infant from birth, ends up ripping someone's face off.
I love Project NIM. Project NIM sounds like it would be a very cute family movie.
If you look at the poster, it looks like a cute family movie. That chimp ends up ripping someone's face off. And the whole thing was just a scam. Massive pseudoscientific scam. We've had a lot of those lately.
Yeah, and we're gonna have one more monkey movie to add to the mix there. It's good. I feel like killer animal movies could be the new grifting for 2026. I mean, there's something in the culture. Mother Nature fights back.
My favorite killer animal movie from recent years has to be Crawl from Alexandre Aja.
Oh, yes.
The crocodile movie. Is it crocodiles or gators? I can't tell the difference.
You're the one who grew up in Florida.
Yeah, I know. Well, in Florida, it's gators, so I don't know what this is. I think it's set in Louisiana. But man, it's so good. If anybody is into killer animal movies, go check out Crawl. I think 2018, if I'm not mistaken? Maybe
I saw it on a plane, and I regret it. I still wish
Regal Battery Park here in New York. I saw it with our good friend and CTO here at the Boxoffice company, Guillaume. We had a fantastic time catching that. Highly, highly recommend it. Well, before we get lost in this rabbit hole of talking about our favorite killer animal movies for another 35 minutes, we should probably take this conversation to where our listeners want to get the most out of it. And who better to go to than our friends over at Agile Ticketing, joining Rebecca Pahle for an in-depth conversation on the world of digital ticketing coming up right after this break.
Since 1999, AgileTix has been revolutionizing cinema box offices with innovative point-of-sale and web ticketing solutions. Their platform streamlines concession management, enhances customer engagement, and provides actionable real-time analytics. By bridging the gap between operators and their audiences, they turn ticket buyers into lifelong patrons, driving success and creating unforgettable cinema experiences.
And I am joined today on the Box Office podcast by Shane Burkett, Director of Strategic Marketing, and Tanya Key, Senior Account Executive at Agile Ticketing Solutions. How are you guys doing today?
Rebecca, it is so good to see you. It's been a minute. I can't wait to see you at CinemaCon.
I know you're going to be there. You have a busy schedule over these next few months leading up to CinemaCon. A lot to talk about.
We do.
Yes,
and I invited my pal, Tanya Key, who works with me at Agile. So I thought she would really bring some enlightening notes to this call.
One of the things I really admire about Agile is you're very proud of your 24/7, 365 live customer support. Even the busiest days of the year, like, for example, Christmas, definitely a busy theater day can be a tough one. How did Christmas go for you guys at Agile?
As far as I know, there were no hiccups. I do see calls as they're coming in, and especially if it's something that we all need to look at, we get pinged on that. But I didn't see any issues at all? I know the calls came in and rolled out.
Yeah, I mean, I know the theaters were busy, but I think Agile kept everything hopping along for everybody, which is kind of our goal. So I don't think we had anything major coming through the call center over the holidays. So we were there in case somebody needed it. We're there,
Rebecca,
ready, willing, and able.
The beauty of having our company is celebrating 25 years. And so the beauty of that is we kind of have this historical overlay that we can use to tap into to make sure that we're properly staffed, to make sure that we have the support that we need at the tip of their fingers. And so knowing that really probably helped our clients a lot, just knowing that, they had that security of 25 years of historical data to say, let's make sure that we have the staff ready to go so there are no hiccups.
Oh gosh, just whatever teams you have on staff who want to get away from their families for a few hours.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know that's obviously a Christmas, knock on wood, you don't have any major problems pop up. But if you do, you want to make sure that you get a solution turned around really quickly. And I know at Agile, you guys are really on top of things about that. So over the last few weeks on the podcast, we've been talking sort of year-end roundup, lessons, takeaways, disappointments, surprises, the whole gamut. And one of the big takeaways for me of this year was the need for cinemas, whether they're part of a big chain, regional chain, independent art house, to really think outside the box in terms of programming. We've seen things like the Netflix Stranger Things finale coming in over this past weekend when things might have been otherwise slow. Things like the Taylor Swift, the album opening. Yeah, the special events. 25 years, you've seen that evolution, and you can help theaters sort of make things run smoothly with some of those more custom programming bits.
So the backbone of our company is built around the needs of theaters, cinemas, art houses, for-profit and nonprofit organizations. So whenever our clients reach out to us, they know that we're going to have their back when it comes to developing our software around their future. We have a team of people that is in our office looking at the looking glass, if you will, and saying, what does ticketing look like 3 years from now? What does it look like 5 years from now? And then Tanya's job is, as she's talking to prospects, she hears data from them on, does your organization do this? Can your organization do this? Can you do dedicated seating? Can you do VIP seating? Can you do in-venue digital signage? Can you do an iOS app? Can you do all those things? So Tanya, tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from prospects and from current clients that are wanting to connect with us to take over their ticketing.
Yeah, in this day and age, even though these are some of these are historical theaters, people and patrons and theaters are wanting convenience for their patrons, convenience for their staff that they're trying to train. We at Agile try to make that, as seamless as possible for everybody. We released a customer-facing app this year, which is phenomenal. That keeping up with the times. You can order, if you can purchase tickets, concessions right from your phone on an app that's actually designed to that specific theater. So it's amazing. It's your branding. It looks like your personal theater on there, and your patrons can go on there. They can access their loyalty program, memberships, purchase tickets, everything on there. And that's been a really big hit this year. The visual signage is great. And then lobby kiosks, just having that convenience right there to be able to go up and purchase a ticket right there very quickly. And then as we're attending the dine-in, since dine-in is coming up here, you can order concessions from your seat with Agile and have it sent right to your seat. So just a lot of different great things that Agile is always doing to keep up with, the demands of the patrons and their guests, and
things smoother and just less friction for the moviegoer. Yeah. And then on the cinema side of things too, things like, well, Shane, like you mentioned, that historical data that can help you with staffing, that you can help with, I know, tip pooling. What are some of those sort of, I guess, behind the scenes things, Tanya, that you've seen more requests from cinemas over the past 2 years?
These things,
or more operational things than something that's...
Yeah, so obviously we have custom reporting, which your concessions, like over 100 different reports that the theater owner, accounting, any kind of reports you want, they can keep very organized with reporting. We have a built-in CRM in our system, so you don't need an outside MailChimp or anything like that. You can email all your patrons and send out marketing right there from the Agile system. We've mentioned the digital signage a couple of times. It's just so easy to go in there and put your concessions up, and it go up on a screen right, from the Agile system right up into your concessions.
That's a visual venue system, right?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Okay, so you have all these things just in this one app that you can you don't have more or less than you need. You're very customizable as a solution for cinemas.
Yeah, and you actually brought up a good point, because not all of these theaters need all of these features. So they're with our software. You can utilize them. Some like to grow into them, start small, then they add visual signage as they get familiar and they get trained with Agile, and so on and so on.
And you do really great work on LinkedIn. I encourage everyone to follow you on LinkedIn, because you provide great tips on marketing, and just it can be so overwhelming nowadays. Yeah. These things that you feel like you have to, there's a right way to do it, and you guys are really great with kind of providing that educational component.
I will admit that our company's primary mission and goal is to really serve as an educational point to our partners, whether you're an Agile customer or not. Follow us on LinkedIn, because we do try to keep cutting edge. Here's what's happening in the market. Here's what's happening legislatively, that we want to make sure people are aware. So even if you're not an Agile client, I encourage you to follow me, follow JJ, follow Tanya Key, because we are constantly having those type of conversations in that public space, so that people are aware. And probably the article that I just released here recently were 10 questions to ask your ticketing provider, or to ask a partner that a company that you're going to partner with for your ticketing, because you really do kind of want to make sure you get that right at the start. We hear horror stories, and Tanya Key, you probably can't see her shaking her head yes, but we hear horror stories all the time of they make a mistake, they go with a competitor, and they come back to us. I can't tell you how many times they'll say, gosh, the implementation process was just grueling, and we've really done the work of making sure that process is easy for our clients. So those are things that we are constantly in our staff meetings and our strategy meetings, making sure that we're nailing it down, make sure that is a smooth transition when they are going to a new ticketing platform, because it's a hard job. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. So Agile takes the time to make sure that we do it right.
And you don't want to, God forbid, you go through that entire process, and then a couple of months down the line, you're like, oh, I want to have an event series that partners with an outside group, and maybe I want to do some sort of a multi-venue situation, especially for theaters that are, really more community-based. You have to do those things, and you don't want to get all the way through the process of onboarding and then discover that it's not something that you can do.
Yeah, no, we have a theater partner right here in Nashville that wanted to do promo codes, and they couldn't. They were with another ticketing provider. And so they called us, and they're like, we missed this question in the qualifying stage of the deal. And so we had to go through a year contract of not being able to do promo codes. That's pretty detrimental to your marketing strategy. You're not able to manage that in a unique way. So they came to Agile, and we were able to resolve that for them.
You make things that they need. You're not forcing them into a box of here's what we have.
Absolutely. Our mission, our core mission, is to help our theaters sell more tickets, period. End of sentence. That is just how we operate, and everything that we line up for our clients innovation-wise, at the end of the day, it has to answer that question.
Sell tickets and concessions.
Yes.
And merch. We can sell merchandise for you. We can sell memberships for you, loyalty programs. So we can sell that customer-facing app.
People want to go to the movies, maybe even especially younger moviegoers like Gen Z. They love going out and making big events of some of these films. What functionality, I guess, exists within Agile that can sort of help transfer that person who, maybe, I'll check out this movie theater, go see one thing, and help transfer them into a loyal patron of the cinema?
Probably the biggest innovation that we have implemented in the last 6 months is our loyalty program. And let me brag about it a little bit. So what it does is it rewards behavior. So if you're a customer of a theater and you're going and seeing films, you now can get rewarded. And the give on that for the theater is the amount of data that they are able to collect from that patron. So I go to theater ABC and I'm doing transactions and I'm buying tickets. You can begin tracking what films they like, which is going to really sharpen up your marketing. You can track what type of concessions they have so it can tighten up your inventory. You can even track when they like to go, what type of films they like, what type of filmmakers they like to enjoy. All of that data really empowers our theaters to connect with their patrons on a level unseen that you just have not had that in the market in since when. So now the theaters are empowered to be able to present films, present programming that is going to bring people into their theater. Rebecca, that's powerful. That is a powerful component that theaters have been screaming for, that Agile's been able to deliver and deliver it flawlessly.
You don't have to do the guesswork of like, I'm just going to send this to my whole email list and hope that we don't tick people off.
Absolutely.
In whatever it is you're programming.
The name of the game is being able to customize that experience and allow them to customize that experience based upon their budget, based upon their needs, based upon their views, whatever they want. They can really customize that experience for your theater or for your family entertainment center or whatever it is that you are trying to get them in the door to go and enjoy. You're able to allow them to customize it, and then you can pull reporting, business analytics, and business intelligence for them to say, all right, now we know family ABC enjoys these types of films, these types of activities, this type of concessions. That data is powerful.
And I mean, you have the loyalty program with specific branding that meets your specific requirements. You don't have to learn how to code.
No,
or
not
anything
at all.
like that. Then that's the same company that helps you with keeping your digital signage up to date. I mean,
right. Agile's done all the heavy lifting for you. All you got to do is plug and play.
That's a great quote.
I love that. I love it. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
I know we're speaking here about a week before the International Cinema Technology Association's big LA seminar. Really excited that that's coming back. I think last year it had to be turned to a digital event because of the LA wildfires. So I know everyone's got to be super excited to get back and get that FaceTime. Just it makes me think of how many different players there are in this space to deal with fiddly little things, whether it's the signage or dealing with promo codes, loyalty programs. I know that's one of the big headaches traditionally for a lot of cinema operators. Integrating different providers can be so tough. How does Agile deal with that of having to, making your product play nicely with some of the other providers in this space?
Yeah. So we have a couple of ways that we do. Number one, we try to build as much inside the native application. So my colleague mentioned the CRM. Those are all native parts of our software that you do not have to contract outside of Agile. That's a unique component to our software. So when we're talking about the digital signage, when we're talking about the iOS, we're talking about all of those things. Those are inside the application, and you get those things whenever you get the application for your venue. Now, we do understand that there's some sophistication that needs to happen outside of the application. Sometimes our nonprofit theaters enjoy using some of the off-the-shelf CRMs, and they want some other reporting capabilities, maybe tax letters. So our software does have an API. That's a middleware software that allows for the movement of data outside of our application into those partners. And so we've already got that with Zapier. We did build a Salesforce application for our clients who do want that more sophisticated reporting application. So those are some of the big ones that we currently have. We also have, from a marketing standpoint, we have an agreement with Fandango that allows for marketing to be able to push those films aggregated out to that partner. So that's been really great for our theaters to discover new patrons and new ticket buyers, getting them in the door, getting them on the loyalty program, and making them a part of their patron family.
And you're not dinging your customers with fees for every single integration.
Absolutely. No, what's really great with Agile is we do want to make sure that your clients can, or that your ticket buyers are able to connect with your organization. So our team can help your organization. You just got to express that vision, what it is you're looking for. Our team is always ready to listen, and we'll help you get to where you need to go so that your venue is as successful as possible.
We'll be at the Dine-Ins in Austin, Dine-In Summit, February 3rd through the 7th. Then we'll also be at Mid-South in Memphis, March 30th through April 1st. And then, of course, CinemaCon, the big one. We'll be out at CinemaCon. So we would love to, go ahead and get you anybody scheduled for a demo that's interested. Anybody wants to reach out, go ahead and get you guys on the books. But those are some exciting conferences that we'll be at the first part of the year.
So any cinema operators, think of whatever fiddly, like, outside use case thing that at some point somebody has said, oh, it would be neat if we could do that. Oh, well, yeah, that would be great, but we don't have the knowledge or the know-how or the tech to do it. Just think of your most thorny, difficult cases. So you can corner Shane or Tanya at one of these shows.
Exactly. You have this in person, so you can come up and talk to us and, see our software in person. So those are the great things about those conferences, connecting with everybody. So
you go with signage, concessions, film festivals, anything that your cinema wants to do. There's some way that you can help make it smoother for everyone involved.
And we're working on a promo too, that if anybody that's hearing this podcast, if they mention that they heard this podcast, we've got a special. So all they got to do is get a demo on the books with my colleague, Tanya Key. I'm working with our sales director, JJ Hall, and we'll get a promo for them. So just let your listeners know that we're delighted to share the software with them. We want to get that demo. We don't have to wait until we see you at a trade show. We would love to get you on the phone and show you just how powerful this application is for your venue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's just great to speak with you guys about the industry, because even if obviously, and even if you're just kind of curious, you're not locked into anything. I mean, you guys know so much about this industry. You were early on the cloud. I know everyone knows still cloud-based. You guys were on the cloud. Everything's cloud-based at Agile, right?
Rebecca, we were born in the cloud. So, and a lot of people find that hard to believe because of our age. But the way that our software was built, it was built with a future-proof aspect. So our developers knew where the internet was going in the next 25 years. So if we, go back in a time machine to 1999, they had the wherewithal to see where we were going, where our company needed to be, and where the future of software as a service technology needed to be. And so they began building the silos that all the data would be housed and secured in the cloud. And we have gone and moved that all the way to where it is today. So even today, we are still very much in the cloud. There are no servers that have to be installed in your location. It is truly a turnkey operation. You sign the deal with Tanya Key, and from there, our implementation team takes it to the next stage, and you're up and running with your ticketing in no time.
Turnkey with Tanya Key. There you go.
There it is. Turn your key with Tanya Key. I love it.
Through the implementation process, we have our amazing customer service. It's going to take care of you. US based, live person.
Is there? Call them on Christmas. Call them on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
The whole Agile team. If you can't tell from us, we are very passionate about event planning and event management. So and our whole team is like this. I think I don't know how we find the great people we do, but we have, and everybody there is just so excited to be a part of the family at Agile.
Yeah, this is such an exciting time to be part of this industry with all the innovative things going on. Some of like the events with like the craft and the crochet, where you can do events, just anything that you might want to try out. You don't want a lack of technological know-how on the part of your staff or yourself to prevent you from doing that, because you don't know what's going to work.
You're 100% right. And I see probably the future of theaters even being more interactive. So I'm seeing people are going to be expecting to order their concessions before they get to the theater, which is kind of cool. That's a new technology that we came up with during the pandemic. We had a client who wanted to open their doors, but they didn't want people standing in line to order their concession. So what they did is they said, how about you go ahead and allow them to order their concessions When they get to the theater, once that ticket scans, it pings the concessions area to let them know they can begin fulfilling that order. And so they literally just walk but through the gate, scan their ticket, go over to the concessions, pick up their order, and go to their seat. And that was the beginning of what we believe now is like the where people can order at their seat, things like that you'll hear a lot about at dine-in cinema. So that's something that Agile was working on way before it's all we had that technology in our brain ready to go.
I don't know how I lived without it. Like, I've bought popcorn so many times, just like on the subway on the way to the theater. Like,
it's a game changer. It really is a game changer because it does allow that venue to make more money. It makes more forecasted money because with our system, you can buy a ticket for next Wednesday and go ahead and say, you know what, I know I'm going to do my Diet Coke and my popcorn. Let me go ahead and just put it in my basket, pay for it. And then when I get there, I don't have to stand in line and I can go. And that type of frictionless experience is what gets people back into the theater, back to connecting with film and back to loving their local theater. So that's where Agile wants to be a part of that play and helping our theaters reconnect or connect in a greater way with their ticket buyers and patrons.
We just would, love to see y'all out at the conferences or reach out to us, even if you're not going to be at a conference. It doesn't hurt just to have a quick conversation with us. We can show you a demo very quickly, even if you're on the fence with your ticketing company. But we're pretty proud of what we have and our longevity and just how we're agile. We work with all different types of theaters, and we try to just really kind of meet some of the needs for individual theaters are different. Not everybody has the same. We really try to just work with each theater to so we're very relationship oriented. I think it's super important and it's kind of unique. We're a little bit sets us apart.
And a big thank you to our friends from Agile Ticketing. Earlier, you heard from myself, Daniel Loria, and my colleague, Rebecca Pahle, here on the Box Office Podcast. We'll be back with a new episode next week, so don't forget to subscribe. New episodes drop every Thursday, and we will talk to you very soon.